All right. So, exporting our video. First off, so I created a quick clip here that actually we're gonna export this, and then I'm gonna go back and actually build this. This actually is within the context of exercise 2. But what I've got is a composition that, when I play it, it's simply a pair of pliers that are opening and closing. It's pretty simple, not a lot behind it, all right? And what I'm going to look at within part of today's demo is setting up an initial animation, looping it, and creating different compositions for different actors within your final scene. And I'm going to show you the benefits of doing that kind of thing. So within your final scene, with what you're working on now, you might have a boatload of layers running down through your timeline that you've just kind of moved around, all right? I'm going to show you how to consolidate a lot of that so you have fewer elements in your timeline and elements that you can individually modify and manage, all right? But to start with, we're going to take a look at exporting. And exporting is really pretty simple. And I'm just going to do the in-app render rather than using media encoder. But once you've got your final composition, stop that. And what I've got is a composition here titled Pliers Loop. Make sure that composition is selected. So that's your final. You're going to go to the composition menu, down to add to the render queue. And it's going to give you a new, right here alongside of your timeline, it's going to give you another tab that says render queue. And you're going to render it from here. So, can you see the screen okay? Is it big enough? All right. It's really small on my screen, so I just want to make sure. So, a couple of things to look at. I usually render with H.264. With the render settings for H.264. That H.264 is a compression method, so it'll take 100 meg animation and make it a 100 meg file size and make it 30 megs or so. It'll make it much smaller, much more manageable. So I usually use H.264, and then you actually have to tell it where to save the file to. So I'm going to start by, I'm just going to click, if you just click right here on the location, give it a name. I'm just going to let it keep the name of my composition for now. You're going to want to name your file with your last name, the assignment .mp4, all right? And I usually keep within my project folder. So my project folder here is animated object. I'm just going to create a new folder for renders. And I'm going to save it there. Save. And I'm going to take a look at the output module here real quick. Like I said, H.264 is what we want to use. If you've got anything else, if it says QuickTime, for instance, you can just change it to H.264 here from the format. And it'll export everything. I mean, you really got to do as little as that in order to do the export, all right? So we've got that. Say OK. And there's settings here for audio and whatnot. This doesn't have audio, so it won't export an audio track. And when you're finished, you'll simply come up here, click render, and you'll watch it render the animation. I'll pop back over here to my animated object folder, renders. Here's my render. That little 15-second animation is about almost 10 megs. If I open that up, there's my animation. All right. That file, when you're done, does everybody have a subscription or an account with YouTube or Vimeo, one of the two? So when you're done, I'm actually going to go to another browser here. I'm using Vimeo, so just going to click on New Video. Go find my render. Might have to do that again. Let's do that again. And once it's done it'll upload it. Once it's done processing, it'll be available. Just copy the link, and that's what you'll submit for your project. You don't have to submit the file itself. All right. And it usually takes a little bit to process, so just give it time. YouTube, if you don't use it or haven't used it, works pretty much the same way. You'll just, within YouTube window, just create, upload a video, and either drag and drop or click and select the file. And it'll upload it. And again, once you're done, grab the sharing link, and that's what you'll turn in. All right. So you'll have the link, your pro forma that you're going to fill out. Excuse me. And that should cover it. Both services take a little bit to process. The bigger the file, the more time it takes. So. But make sure that you give it a description if you want. I'm not going to add it to a playlist. No, it's not. YouTube has a lot more settings you got to set out. It's not made for kids. You'll check it, make sure there's nothing copyrighted in it. And you can make it whatever you want to do. Make it public or make it unlisted. It's up to you. And there's the link. Copy that link, and you'll submit that. All right. And there's our video we just exported.